Welcome in. This is a sacred place we're going into when you come here with us. I'm serious. It's sacred. It is. It's very sacred. We did a video on sacred and secret not long ago, remember? Yeah, it's very sacred. What we're doing is very, very, very sacred. Because we're uplifting each other to a unity consciousness, right? What happens when as we raise our frequency vibration, right? And experience these different aspects of ourselves and individuations, right? So individualized in the lowest point, not realizing you're connected to source. It would fulfill the scriptures, ye are gods, because you are. But are you active? Or are you a demon? Because you can be a demon too, or a devil. I'm not talking man with horns and pitchforks and stuff like that. That's a whole different story. We're not in those places no more. We're awakened to kind of know who we are. If you wonder why I'm wearing the same shirt every day, no. I did these tapings all in one evening. In the evening. So how'd you guys like, man? That Guitar Gently Weeps. I hope it touched you, because that song definitely has some depth. And it was when they came back from they went to India, went into meditation, went into that depth of themselves of the meditation, and definitely George said he had an experience that changed him forever. And he, even up to his death, he always spoke about being connected into that space, and he stopped using. He said, when I found out that I can meditate and feel this natural, I didn't need to use anything anymore, and he didn't. And that song really gives you something that's very deep, very personal, and very real. But yeah, very good song. Man, we've been hitting up some good ones here as we end the year going into the new year, right? So we're going to hit another one today. This is a little different, a little bit more into talking about what's going on outside of us again, the government and the people outside of us that seem to be the way makers or the leaders and all that. So I found a couple of interesting stories that I've known about for a while, and I've been looking at it, and we're going into the Trump family. We're going to deal with it's definitely the Trump family. We're going to go into the Trump family, what is and who is the Trump family, and some interesting things that I had found a while ago with Benjamin Natu, calling him King Cyrus Trump, because of what King Cyrus helped them leave Babylon in the story, right? And Natu gave him a coin, called him Cyrus, King Cyrus. But there's also something that you need to see about Barron. And also there's something I want to add about that too. I'm going to add this in there once we get there. So we're going to go right in. Where are we at? Let's go in. Let's share. Let us share our live. Okay. Start here. Let me get this out of the way. Good. So right away you can see is King Cyrus, Old Testament. So that's what Benjamin, start here. Benjamin Netanyahu wasn't the first to compare Donald Trump to the ancient Persian leader Cyrus, but he's probably been the most prominent. Following the 45th president's announcement earlier this year that the U.S. Embassy in Israel would move from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, the Israeli Prime Minister remarked, "I want to tell you the Jewish people have a long memory. So we remember the proclamation of great King Cyrus the Great, Persian king 2,500 years ago. He proclaimed that the Jewish exiles in Babylon would come back and rebuild their temple in Jerusalem." Nenatu suggested that Trump might be compared to Cyrus because of his specific policies in affecting the Jewish community, gives an analogy of a unique twist, but American evangelists have compared Trump to the Persian ruler since the Republican primaries. The claim even made an appearance at a recently released film, The Trump Prophecy. They argue that just as Cyrus scarcely devoted the devotee that just as Cyrus, a devotee to Yahweh, the God of Israel, served as king, authorizing Jewish exiles in Babylon to return to the promised land, and it doesn't go any farther than that, huh? But that's okay. There's something else I want to add here. I should have added it first, but let's do this now. I want to add here. This is heavy. We're not going to get on this now, but we're going to get on this. Let's get over here first. And so we see the comparisons immediately to Cyrus, right? King Cyrus, Persian king, helps them get out when they leave Babylon under the Babylonian control and power, right? King Cyrus. They compare it to him, and then not two follows up. Actually, I want to say gave him a coin. I'm not sure if he did, but this is going to get heavy. I don't know. I know somebody who had told me about this, and I had already heard about it and never brought it up. And I kind of written it down in the past. This last part I put in, but this is going to go heavily. And what I'm probably going to say is, I really have this feeling, and kind of know that a lot of the people that we've seen in the past, I'm going to say this, a lot of people that like Seven said Marduk was Elon. Who's to say Cyrus isn't Trump in past lives? Because a lot of what we've seen happen in Egypt was them learning how to cheat death and transfer their consciousness into other consciousness, as we call it. For us, we say it's being reincarnated. But they were able to cheat death and then reincarnate themselves as somebody later, because once you get into certain spaces, time's not linear. It really isn't linear now, but in the lowest degree, we see it as the past, the present, the future. But all of it in quantum is happening at the same time, right? This is getting deeper, and as you go into more unity consciousness, this experience becomes more real in time. Have you ever got a glimpse of yourself in another reality? I have. It's happened on 2 occasions, and it was less than a second both times. I got a vision, see myself somewhere else, and then it was gone. So another thing why I'm saying this, watch this. So we see Cyrus. Let's see. Notice here. Magas are saying that Barron is the second coming of Alexander the Great. How much that Alexander the Great and Barron Trump look like each other, right? I'm not saying that I know for sure, but it don't surprise me because the spirit of that. Trump is one of the biggest supporters of Israel of any of our American presidents. I don't know if you've known that. You may know that, and if you know it, good. I can elaborate whether that's good or bad. I know there's a synagogue that belongs to a certain group of people, right? And but I'm not going to keep going on that. But just, you know what I mean. I'm sure you know what I mean and what I'm saying. Not everything appears to be what it is. So, but when you see the Cyrus, Persian, and now you're looking at, which we see Cyrus, there's some pictures of them, I don't know how well they are, but then you have this comparison, when I see Barron with Alexander the Great statue, I'm going, God dang, that definitely is even almost to the hair being as curly, or whatever that is, on Alexander the Great, but there is definitely some look-alike things with that. And I'm not here to demonize Barron even, because I know that this actually young gentleman, I'm not saying that this is picking the sides, because I do both sides with the same quarter of the same side. The elites have always been able to control through using politricks and religion through each incarnation of each age with the powers that be. You got the 13 families now that definitely have control and power. You know, we talked about the young woman or young girl who did her history project or science project and showed how all presidents are related. And I go, and she thought that was great. Even came to an event. This was like in maybe 2008, 2009, 2010. So it was ways back, 14, 15. That girl's in her 20s now. She thought it was great. They even put it up in the White House or some place that what she found by her study. And this very young 11-year-old girl did this at this time. It connected all the dots, and all the American presidents were actually related. And I said right then that I'm not surprised, because I've kind of known about a lot of this government since I was in my late 20s. I'm 62, believe it or not. I'm not trying to brag on myself. A lot of people say you look younger than your age, and I'm told that all the time. But when I was 27, 28, a friend of mine who was Jewish gave me a book, and it was called Don't Dare Call It Conspiracy. And from then on, I kind of knew, but I actually, when I really analyzed myself through my lives, plural, I kind of see that when I was a young boy, how I was different. And the experience I had at 4 or 5 years old that maybe I'll share. And I might have shared it on one of my videos when because I did share life experiences. Because I've had those I've had the experiences. They want to call it now, what is it? Having... not extraterrestrial, but para, what is it called? Not paradigm, but para spiritual, unseen experiences. I'm not as scared of it because I've had it. I'm not, you feel energies. You feel whether they're not magnetating towards you or you want to repel from them. You feel that when it's not good. And I had experiences with that. And even as a young boy, 4 or 5 years old, I remember this one day, probably was 45 minutes. An hour felt like a day experience I had of the world, something usually people have when they start waking up at 20. I had at 4 or 5 where I was like, and I'm not going to go into it, but when I'm going to go into Barron, because I actually have watched videos of this young man, and I'm not saying he's that, but I've even seen videos of him doing really good stuff for people that were in need. I've seen a video recently about him giving a young lady, a waitress who was in a bad state of financially working, and her mother was sick. Her mother needed meds. She didn't have money, and she was lacking money for rent. She was a waitress. He stopped by, wrote a note on his bill, and then gave her a tip. And the note he wrote was, "I know life can be tough." It was very heartwarming, and things will get better. Things will not always be as bad as you're going through now. Maybe he picked up on it, her energy or whatever. He wrote that, but then put a tip that was 4 figures. And this actually went around and went viral. But man, he looks to me like him. I mean, he really looks like Alexander the Great. And stuff. This is something I want to share with you. I was hoping it'd pop up somewhere else, but this is a book. This book is called Barron Trump Collection: The Adventures and Travels of Little Barron Trump and His Wonderful, on and on. But when you look up this, it's not saying here so much. This book, the Barron Trump book. No, there's another one. I'm going to put this here. Here it is. The Last President, 1896, this was written. Yes. This book called about, the journeys of Barron Trump, and it says The Last President. The Last President, Barron Trump, here it is. This book was written actually, I think if you do the homework, in 1896, and I think the beginning of it said that. And said last president or 1990 or 1900, but I believe that it's. I thought it was 1896, whatever. Written over 125 to 130 years ago, and it's called Barron Trump: The Last President. The Last President, Barron Trump, But my feeling is the last president really is not about him. It's about his dad. I mean, this book pops up, and it was written 130 years ago. Patty shared it with me, but I had already seen it and heard about it. I actually want this book. I find it very, very. And the Barron, who is a son, who I just showed you, Barron, and Barron is Alexander the Great. Now this book comes out about Barron Trump. Let me see if I can get some more information about this book. Let me see if I can get some more information about this book. This is heavy, right? I'm telling you, we are not in a place that what we thought it was. So it says here 1990, okay? I thought it was 1896. Well, that's 4 years. I was trying to get more images on it. The last president, Barron Trump. There's 3 novels, I guess. There's more novels than that. This is heavy to me. We know this guy is a 20-something-year-old, right? He's in his early 20s. I think he's in college. And but we know that Trump's president now. We know the book of Revelations is somewhat happening now. Whatever, I'm going to leave it open, your theology. Are we, because I see timeline splits in the spiritual aspect, but I also know that as we celebrate the Phoenix, in some older books written by scientists and stuff, the Phoenix was connected to apocalypses or cataclysms that almost like reset everything, where everything was cleaned out and just come back, Jack, do it again, which leads most people to feel that this is why we live in a holographic simulation, part of it. And this would be kind of what Archaics teaches, but Archaics has backup in science. And I guess I better share some of the stuff. I've never shared that part of it. I didn't find out about this from him, but I kind of, a year ago, which is not a year ago now, 14 months ago, I had these visions 2 straight days, and I seen the simulation in my vision in the sky. So I started looking at that. I almost feel like this goes with the demiurge and all that stuff. It's almost like this is a place to come. This wasn't a place to stay. It's like going through a graduation school, but some don't pass and got to come back, Jack, to do it again. We've lived many lives, but isn't this ironic that you have him looking like Alexander the Great, his dad being called King Cyrus, and then there's a book called Trump, Barron Trump, the last American president, written over 100 years ago. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up in this place we live in. It's not what we think it is, I'm telling you folks. It takes the awakening in the field and the experiences that we're having. Many of us are dialed in, we're tuned in. Our sentience is like we're connected. Everything's like connected, sentience amplified. And I know I've talked to a few people here that send me messages and they're having the same experiences. Kind of that next level. So this to me is very, very heavy, but yeah, go back onto it again, like here, Barron Trump. Or the last. I don't like that picture of it. Nah, I don't like it. I wanted one with a name on it. Maybe it's down here. Let me go down farther. Last president. See, it's 1900. Dates, 1896. That's why I knew that number was there. Maybe the book wasn't final to 4 years later. I'm not sure. Oh why are we going back? I want out of here. Let's make this smaller again. But anyways, I feel like I can get out of here. Oh, here we go. Let's get rid of this. Okay. So, Barron Trump collection. The last American president. Here it is. The Barron Trump. This is heavy. Barron Trump. 1896. I'm still blown away, but not surprised. Back here, let's go here. He resembles Alexander the Great here. And then his pops, Donald. It's called Cyrus by the politics, but then with both sides are politics. Nanatu's the prime minister. He calls him that too. And then goes into, and I think he was going to even say making a coin of him and Cyrus. Very interesting, isn't it? Let me move me out of my way and go out of here. Yeah, that to me is crazy, but not surprising. I've known about the book for 2 months and knew I needed to share it here. I actually want the book. I want to see what it's about. And this Barron Trump, I mean, that's the son, and then we see Cyrus, and I mean, I'm just seeing more and more. We're getting a bird's eye view of this reality, even what's going on, even some of the things said. We're going to find out some stuff about what's happening at the North Pole or in that area. Of really what's the reality behind that area? What's the reality? What you see, the Oreo Borealis there? I see that as souls passing into the portal when they die. That's what I feel it is. I agree with that. Actually, the one who kind of quickened me to that was Sanchez, Brother Sanchez. I don't think I did a video on share. I don't know if any of you know Brother Sanchez. I definitely was connected to Brother Sanchez, Seven Bomar. I was in Seven Bomar's group. Understanding. But yeah, you guys have a great day. This is some heavy stuff. I'm kind of blown by it. And then remembering the book, because I didn't put the book in there, and I go, oh, I got to add this book. Okay, you guys have a great day.